Y'all, well, I'll be damned if I slang some shit. Come to spread the butter lyrics over harmony grip. It's the Mo Killer Death track. Yes, I'm a jet black ninja coming where you rest at surrender, infidels. And it's time to throw down your weapons and enter the locker room so we can talk some ish. It's hacker Hamin, just me, myself, and I, me, my. We'll see if Big Stevie Cool makes it or not. He's on quick trip down to FL, maybe going to Jacksonville. Who knows? We got a special run in a little while as well, infidels. It's the Friday Veteran Locker Room. YOLO. Yeah, good morning, infidels. Good to be back in the saddle. Yesterday was a long day of meetings, man. I think 6 hours, and today is going to be another one just like that. But out of those meetings comes opportunity, and out of opportunity comes the chance to succeed and create great content for you guys, man. So I'm excited about it. Really excited, though, for 10:30 this morning. I've got my next round of the Sopranos Superfan competition. So I'm going to meet with Andy, their producer, on Talking Sopranos and see if I got what it takes to make it to the very finals, to hopefully be on the show with Michael Imperioli, Steve Shrippa. I mean, that'd be more than a dream come true. Very cool. And hopefully we can, again, foster some type of creative endeavor out of that too. Who knows, man? The best will always find each other. And I see the chat room filling up here. Ben Hamin, YouTube channel, twitch.tv/Hamin Media. We're the best of the best. Get the live signal flare, and they join us to hang and bang early morning in the chat room. I see Greg Mose from Louisville. Jay Hall's in the house, Classified Chappie, Frank's Pickle Barrel, asked the one and only animation master, Mandeer, Ron Booth. I see you too. Nobody Worth Remembering Society Reviews first in the house this morning. Gam Wolfers as well. What's up, Riz? So hopefully you guys are having a good one. Watched as much as I could of Dynamite last night, and then I got blown up because I heard there was a big botch. I turned it off like 4 minutes to the end. That overbooked main event with MJF and Sammy Guevara was just so egregious. And hopefully I'll have time to do Light the Fuse today with the Chris Silvio and MSG, but I'm not sure if I'm going to have all the time to do that. So maybe they'll be rocking solo. I'm sure they'll talk about it if I can't make it. But a lot of people, from Jimmy Corderas to others, are just like, dude, you're giving tombstones off the second rope and kicking out. We're done here. Like what agent is saying, yeah, that's the thing to do on Wednesday night after we just had a show on Saturday that could be one of our lowest ever. And other people who watch the 3-minute, really well-produced retrospective of their first year that covers a lot more highlights than it does lowlights. And, you know, people just responding, and you can tell they egregiously want a job at AEW, so they're playing the fucking locker room cool kids role, you know, and good on them. I mean, if that's all they think they got, then so be it. If they have to do it, when I see that stuff, it just makes me, I don't know, wince a little bit. Everybody's got to get theirs. I get it, especially if you're on top and you're trying to capitalize. But we've been out of the wrestling bubble for so long now to see that kind of stuff. I just look at it, I'm like, wow, they don't even realize what the perspective is when they're doing it. And I feel bad for them kind of, because there's more than one. It's not one person. It's a bunch of them. And I don't know what the Stockholm syndrome is. Hopefully my guest later will be able to maybe shed a little light on that, man, because it's an interesting conversation. Stevie and I have had it with a thanking people as soon as you get fired tweet. I know that sets Russo off big time, but you know, this is a strange game that you have to play, and a game that you may never get to play, as we saw with Kenise Mobley and her ignorance of going into biz for herself on the Asian, not Asian podcast, whatever. That podcast has gotten too much fucking play just from this story alone, getting that title out. And, you know, biting themselves in the ass. And we'll see if the big IFC executive they hired, who's supposedly behind these woke hirings of people who have no business even being around our business, they should be ticket buyers, are now getting fucking placed on the main roster writing team. It's just, it's sickening at its lowest level. Frank says, Ben, what do you think AEW's paying these dark match guys and TV wrestling people? Like, what's the pay scale? Well, If you're Dylan Bostic, you're promised $250 per shot, and then you get 80. So, or what was it, $200 per shot, and you get 80. So, yeah, man. Amp Williams in the house. I see you too, homie. Good to see you, man. Long time. Hopefully, you're having a good run here this summer, man. But yeah, dude, 250 probably for a dark if you're a non-signed contract, non-contract performer. I imagine 250, maybe 300, maybe less now because they've got so many people under contract that they can go, oh, we're going to bring them in. Well, we can give for 200 because, that's that. So you think it's all because you're on TV, you're making all kinds of money, man. Yeah, maybe a free power washer. You could do that possibly. But I did see Holodead on doing dark, and that made me very happy because that's a phenomenal, phenomenally talented woman, character, performer, and over prepared for the opportunity and much better in the ring than many of the people on their main roster that I've seen, man or woman. So I like it when people I think are great talents get an opportunity, and as opposed to being somebody's friend or politicking for it. Excuse me. We all have to politic for it. I'm on chat. I need to hit the other cough button. Yeah, let's see. Everybody's in the cut, but yeah, hot dog and a handshake. The guy's a billionaire, but he's got way too many people on his roster already, whether they're Jericho's sing-along group of indie workers or what have you, Dark or Dark Elevated or Nightmare Factory. I mean, think about every worker they've recruited for either minimal price or student that they've charged maximum price for, and pay that off by letting them have a crappy match on Dark. Welcome to the work of the wrestling business, and that's how it is worked. And you should have to pay a fair amount of dues. I had this conversation with Russo yesterday about youngsters getting too much too fast. Like they get right out of school and they think they're going to walk into a 100K job. When I left school, and maybe this is me maybe being ignorant and the things have changed, but the entitlement level, I know we throw that word around a lot, is unbelievable. I left 4 or 5 years of school and went to Chicago to put myself in with the best of the best in comedy, and still had to pay 2 more years of dues, which is a master's degree level education in improv, while I'm working full-time downtown at design agencies, and paying, for 2 years to pay for my next level of training, and then get the experience to work on the main stages for free, to not get paid, only to hopefully get a Saturday Night Live audition or get picked up by Comedy Central or something. Like, that's paying your dues and being there and doing it for the art and learning your craft. And a lot of these kids are coming out of wrestling school and never even had like a real tour or match, and they're fucking getting TV time or anything else. And then, not to say, oh, I, me, my, but we're talking about that crew. And then from Chicago, I packed up and did it again and paid rip and put in another 3 years. So really 9 years of education before you make a dime, is about the norm, maybe a little less, but it's insane. The entitlement level of where they think, oh, I'm doing this job now, and I was just X amount on the totem pole, but now I'm over. So you're going to pay me like I'm a fucking 20-year vet. I don't know if that's going on at your jobs or not, but, it seems to be an epidemic to some degree. Ben, where do you think TK will wake up and start cutting his payroll to try and stay in the black? Well, they have $100 million to lose. So if they are losing $20 million a year, which is a fair on par, maybe a little more, I would say, then he's got 5 years, so before he has to really do anything. So if you're cutting Blue Pants' contract, I mean, does she even have a contract? Is it a pay per performance basis? We saw a couple people not get their contracts renewed. I think Awesome Kong was one, and man, I can't remember off the top of my head who the other person was. Another girl. She wore orange. I can't remember her name. I think it starts with an S. But just thanks, but no thanks. Now we've got to make room for Christian and fucking Lana and whoever else we're bringing in, and that's that means thank you indie workers for the startup, but yada yada. Yeah, every WWE promo says I busted my ass, but I want a title shot. Well, there you go. Kaz asking, do I think AEW will implode? I mean, implode. Daddy will just keep feeding them money. I think that's what's going to be the cutoff. Is Daddy's like enough's enough. Because the thing that can make them implode is their even bigger property, the Jacksonville Jaguars, and the soccer stuff could be, in the shitter again this year. And that's much more mainstream to focus on than phony ass wrestling where you're kicking out of fucking tombstones off the second rope in the main event. But yeah, to go back, I could see a lot of the buddy contracts coming up not renewed, and it should be that way to some degree. If you're talking about being a harsh businessman, sure, you Adam Revolver would always say when we were working, you go to the war with the army you got, not the army you want. But now he's building the army that he may want, he may not want it. He may not want to get worked by a bunch of veterans who want to pick his pockets. And it may be smarter to have greener talent that you have to pay next to nothing to. Would you rather have name brand? That's an interesting question. Would you rather have name brand made entities that you have to pay an exorbitant amount to who will deliver because they're pros? Or would you rather have subpar amateur pros that you have to pay nothing to, but you could cover with good creative if you knew how to do it and how to keep the match times low so we have less opportunity for big botches and all that kind of shit, man. So very interesting to see what cuts are coming. I got nervous last night during the Britt Baker and Rebel match, which we'll get to that story, versus Nyla Rose and Vicky Guerrero, because I was half paying attention and I saw somebody go through the table and I just saw some sequins. I looked up, I go, did they put Vicky through a table? And then they pan over and it's Britt. Not like I'm like, oh, thankfully it's Britt. But I thought for a minute they put Vicky through a table. I was about to fly to Jacksonville myself and hand out some free $5 face slaps. Innova G, Ben, all your hard work is paying off. Well, please send the check. Or feel free to go to prowrestlingtees.com/Ben Hamin or cameo.com/Ben Hamin. Had a great time cutting a promo, a sexy promo. Yeah. Yes, that's right. A sexy one for Greg Mosier's lovely Mandy. And she seemed to enjoy it as well, man. So Cujo says dislocated kneecap on Rebel, which I got to say, thankful for that, just that, because I thought her leg was broken or she popped a PCL, MCL, which is real nasty, and we're big supporters of Rebel Reba here. Great friend of the show and within 1 degree of separation, we've talked about it before. And that's not the reason why I hope she's all right, but it always, you're like, oh man, I hope, oh my girl, it's not that bad where she's going to be on the shelf. But it's interesting and funny and super heel in a way, but the sell was real. So I know it's not a work, but she just got off crutches, came back. Now she's going to be on crutches. That's very Bob Orton Sr. Even though it's a shoot, the crutch gimmick, her armpits got to be devastated. Have you ever been on crutches for an extended amount of time? The chafing and the bruising and all that shit that you go through in the early times of using crutches. But here's Rebel again going to be on them. So I hope it's less than recovery time, and I hope she kicks out of that soon enough. She's great as a sidekick in that move into a tag out of nowhere because we need to fill something. So that was good. Putting Vicky Guerrero in a match, not good in my opinion. Let's get to a couple headlines before we hopefully bring on one of our guests today. Big congratulations to the man's man getting married to the man. Becky Lynch and Seth Rollins on their marriage. Early on Tuesday, Seth Rollins took to Instagram stories and teased that he and Becky Lynch were about to tie the knot. Rollins wrote, "Seems like a fine day to finally get married." A few hours later, WWE seemingly confirmed that Lynch and Rollins got married by tweeting out congratulations to the happy couple. She's the man, she's the mom, And as of today, Becky Lynch is officially the wife. Are you sure about that? Do we need to define gender roles like that? Rollins and Lynch welcomed their daughter Rue on December 4th of last year. Following their engagement in 2019, the couple had planned to get married in May, but could not go through with their plans during the COVID-19 pandemic. So congrats to them. It's kind of a funny picture of them in the car sitting by a fence that they used as the stock for this. It kind of looks like when Triple H rolled up to the quick wedding thing in Reno with fucking Stephanie. That would have actually been funny if they redid that and Seth drugged Becky and married her that way. I would actually pop pretty big for that. That would have been what have you. But I don't know if he wore a douche suit or not. The picture showed him with his hat backwards and her riding shotgun. I doubt that's their wedding day photo because they know that they can make a ton more money by selling that. Another injury that we taught, from this week, and Ray and I talked about it yesterday on Next Level, and maybe I'll talk to our guest about this. He may have some pretty great insights about this, but Mercedes Martinez reportedly taken to the hospital after NXT match. Very interesting, show the other night, but Mercedes Martinez, another person who's very close friends with, friends of our show. I mean, it's a tiny business, but, she's friends with Genocide. So I try and pick my words carefully because I don't want to, insult anybody, friends of friends of friends, and everybody's hot because I'm already going through that with somebody else and I don't want to do it again. But she took a nasty kick from the face from Gia Lee. Took two, really. And Gia Lee's got awesome kicks, like very shoot looking, crisp martial arts side kicks. So she takes a side kick in the face. And then at the end in the finish, which might not have been the finish or supposed to be, she does a step over roundhouse. So you step your right foot over, spinning back kick to the side of the head if you didn't see it. And she catches Martinez straight to the side of the temple. Beautiful kick. And dude, she just folds Mercedes Martinez. You just see Martinez's legs lock, little bit of fetal position, and then just timber, boom, hits the mat super hard, does a face skitter kind of across the mat, knocked out cold. Like it was shoot. And it didn't look like, it was unsafe, but it's not unsafe because of the way she threw the kick. And here's where I'm not trying to bust on Mercedes Martinez because there's a ton of money on her and she's a veteran performer. But dude, when you're taking a super kick or any kick for that matter, big boot, what have you, it's up to the person taking it to get their hand up at the last minute or how they're going to feed with their head down because they know it's coming and bring it up there. So somebody hits their hand with the boot, not your face, not the side of your head, not your temple. So it's kind of user error on the side of the person taking it. And I get if they want to make somebody look good, but you got to protect yourself, phony wrestling or not. So we're not protecting ourselves there. And they're obviously not teaching and enforcing how important it is to protect yourself. Hopefully after this incident, they will in tape review where we have super kick practice day where everybody learns how to feed and get their hand up last minute for something. Oh, I'm bumped. I'm staggering around. I'm turning. Oh, boom. And get it. People in the stands aren't ever going, dude, they got their hand up. That's bullshit. I've never really heard that on a good super kick take. So, but apparently she had to be taken to the hospital after that. There'd been speculation that she'd been knocked out. She was rocked. The ref saw it right away. Good job by the referee. And kind of they went right home. A true badass. This ain't over. Payback's a bitch. She wrote in a tweet. Jake Atlas wrote that about his partner because it was a mixed tag match. I really like that crew that they're taking on from China. It's very Mortal Kombat feeling. And that dude, Jake Atlas, is like the quintessential development perfect guy that you can stick with anybody for a tag or to have a believable go over match or what have you. But I hope she's all right and it's not too bad of a concussion. But man, she took a fucking spinning roundhouse right to the side of the dome. It was pretty scary. Y'all, what time is it? 8:50. All right. Interesting one here. WWE Hall of Famer Eddie Kingston. A WWE Hall of Famer asks Eddie Kingston to shut the fuck up and stay in his lane. Yeah, Bully Ray comes out on Busted Open Radio and says, "I love Eddie Kingston to death. But if we were having a promo war and I was captain of the team and somebody says you get to pick one person to promo for you, I'd most likely pick Eddie because of the believability, tone, inflection, everything about him. I agree with that. I mean, by far the best promo in AEW, maybe in wrestling. But in this case, Eddie needs to shut the fuck up and stay in his lane. And his lane is of an AEW guy speaking about AEW and flying the flag for AEW. Then I'm completely on board. Tell me how great AEW is. Fly the flag for your company. Show me that you wear your heart on your sleeve. But Bully Ray is saying here is, he's taking shots at WWE, but he's not an ex-WWE guy. So why would he open his mouth about it? He says if it was Jericho or Cody, then there's some validity there, but he's never worked for WWE. So why is he taking the easy way out and knocking WWE? I get what Bully Ray's saying to some degree, but I also feel like this is Bully Ray being super smart because he is a worker's worker and trying to pluck the strings back, not because he wants a WWE job, but he would be good to come in to talk shit. I mean, Bully Ray and Eddie Kingston, very similar New York, fucking Philly, Northeast style of, really talking shit, especially Bully Ray, ECW original, when he stopped doing the stuttering Bubba and was talking shit to the crowd. Huge, Eddie Kingston, very, very much that same feel from that time. And Bully Ray, a great reinvention post WWE Dudley Boys that kind of got to talk shit in the same way. So I think Bully's got a point, and he's going to go to bat for WWE, being a Hall of Famer, absolutely. But to me, this is Bully Ray seeing his opportunity to go into biz for himself and get over in the eyes of WWE while possibly sparking some shit that if Eddie Kingston doesn't respond back, then Kingston, with how great a shit talker is, looks like a bitch. But Bully Ray fucking had his moment to go, here's my time to fire back on a guy. And that would be an awesome promo battle. Bully Ray and Eddie Kingston, even together, they'd be good on the same side as some serious New York shit talkers. So as a worker's worker for getting himself over with the E and getting an opportunity possibly with AEW, Bully Ray knows exactly what he's doing, bro. He's like, that's working at the highest level, being outside of the bubble. So very interesting to see where that's going to play out if Jericho responds, if they have Eddie Kingston on Busted Open. But that will kind of let the air out of it, in my opinion. I think they should really build this, and I think Bubba knows that too. There's no doubt. Conan's a great mic worker. Oh yeah, Conan was phenomenal on Saturday, getting that LAX and FTR feud kicked off. That was all him, man. And I can't believe the bump that he took. Come on, bro. Let's take care of these guys a little bit more. John Morrison reveals pitch idea that WWE wants to do. He spoke to Steven Muehlhausen of Dans.com. Okay. Dazen, D-A-Z-N, whatever. But talking about Money in the Bank, is this one of those ones that are 19 paragraphs? It looks like it is. He says, I feel like I pitch an idea every week. Some of them are dumb, some aren't. I laugh a lot about dipsticks because I love the idea. I think Hurricane Helm sent me a tweet that said WWE just trademarked drip stick. They want to do crypto drip. I pitched that for 2 months. That fits so many things. Well, they're already doing crypto with Grimes, so why would you jump on his stuff, man? Morrison is a stud. He doesn't need any of that bullshit. With everything that's going on right now, I'm very optimistic and hopeful that I'll get a chance to show what I can do. Oh, that's just disappointing to even have to read that. It's a strange thing that everyone is best at something, right? It's really fulfilling, enjoying to do that thing you're best at and at the best of your capability. For me, that's wrestling. It's always has been. I feel like I'm better now than I've ever been. I haven't really had a chance on my own to see what's in my head is possible. I feel like this is the chance. Morrison's also asked what for Money in the Bank ladder match. So it's hard to put into words, but you got to think of this way. You get out of something what you put into it. And I pretty much put my entire life into this business. So winning that briefcase would mean a lot. We all know that's not happening. You're not, when you're doing Johnny Dripstick and Bad Bunny, you're not going to the top level of Money in the Bank, even though the problem is he should be a top draw. That was Sex Appeal, the wife there now, and they renamed her Frankie Monet instead of Taya Valkyrie and playing into it. Meanwhile, we get Seth and Becky getting married, or they want to split up Killer Cross and his lady, Scarlett Bordeaux. I mean, that's insane to me. You have all of these power couples. Why are you not going down that road where some people, because they were former champs and over, get to do the whole People magazine thing, but you guys, because you're mid-card and we just don't want to put you up there, well, you have to fucking not pretend. Play into the reality of what we're doing. That's far, far, far more interesting here. Let's see if I can bring this up without botching the spot here. I gotta find our guest so I can then send him the link. It's going to take me a minute as well. We do a little dead air here, but chat room banging this morning. Appreciate you guys joining us. Well, that's not going too well for me. It's just sing, sing, sing all day. Oh, man. Does anybody else's browser suck with Facebook compared to what it was on their, like how it operates on their phones? I know mine is just trash when I use it in the browser compared to the phone app now. We shall see who arrives. If not, we'll go solo. Not my first rodeo. The 36 strong. Appreciate you guys having a good time this morning here with us. A Hamin Media Group. Y'all, former WWE doctor discusses Vince McMahon. Yeah. His attitude, the attitude era. No, his attitude towards the well-being of his wrestlers. Dr. Frank Romascavage, I guess. Interesting last name. I like that last name. Was the WWE doctor from 93 to 2006. He explained what his primary role was that at that time. To make sure guys had enough B12. They would call me up and say, hey, Roma Escovich, we want you to do this or that or whatever. We need you here for the pay-per-view or in your house or something like that. I would never say no. The McMahon family was always good to myself. I remember one night we were in Providence, Rhode Island, and we had a whole bunch of physicals done. So they would always send a limousine, jet plane, long limousine, to the back door of my office, take me right up to Rhode Island, and I would take a couple of nurses. Yeah. I would take my family, and we'd all do the physicals and get it all done for them. He was asked what Vince McMahon's attitude towards wrestlers and well-being was like. He says, I know Vince, his wife, his daughters and sons. It's all about business. It's a business proposition all the way down the line. Vince expects the best. Guys make a lot of money. They have good careers. They make a lot of money, and it's more power to them, but they're talented people. Not really appreciates the stamina that nobody really appreciates the stamina that these folks have. They're on the road 300 to 350 days out of the year, and they're never around their families. It's unbelievable. They have to be able to talk. They have to be, we'll see. They have to be able to walk. They have to be able to look physically great. They have to look just right for the camera. And they have their whole role as designed. That's how it has to be. And I always tell people, these guys have a mega amount of talent to be a member of WWE. But Vince, he's a business guy. I've never seen him ever demean anybody or hurt anybody or say anything nasty. Okay. Well, good. Maybe our perception is a little different. But also, that's a doctor who's got a specific role and who's not in the inner circle of what's going on, man. But yeah, we'll see if he changes his tune or if he's back on the roll. But Roma Scavenge, I like that last name. Davey Richards asked if he and Eddie Edwards will ever reunite as the American Wolves. He says, I'm definitely open to tagging with someone else. I do think that would be kind of hard to sell because I'm so synonymous with the Wolves. At this time, I'm definitely looking to really stake my claim in singles competition. Jacob Fatu is ungodly talented. Yeah, I agree. Oh, Werewolf's awesome. It's weird to view him as a big man because you can't put a label on someone that good. He's literally just good at everything. He's a technical wrestler. He can fly. He's very well rounded, yeah, which is very rare in the ring. I'm blown away by how good he is. Richards and Edwards were an iconic tag team in Impact and ROH, winning a total of 8 tag team titles both across both promotions. Richards was asked if he's considered reuniting with Edwards for his comeback run. He says, there absolutely was. Eddie had actually undergone surgery, had his appendix taken out. I remember that. Richards pointed out it wasn't really like what he was kind of focusing on that. And then the thing with MLW happened really quickly. I felt like it'd be a better fit after a year to organize all the pieces. He's obviously in a different company than me and doing very well there. I like it well in MLW, and I think there will only be anticipation and desire for us to get back together, which I feel we inevitably will. I think right now is the right time for that, and I think Eddie would agree with me, I hope, but it's more of a question of when, not if. Yeah, I agree with that too. There's so much money written on those guys, and they work together for so long. And I think individually, they both are impressive. Let me see here. Sorry, I'm just getting a message. It says, oh, looks like not going to be able to make it. No worries. It's only phony wrestling. It's only phony wrestling talk. We will link up soon. Yeah, I was Drake Wuertz was our guest for today, but he got called into work. He was invited, and then he's like, I can't. And then he's like, oh, I can make it. I'm not. And then, baby on the way, mad bills to pay. That's why you drink Tanqueray, so you can reminisce and wish you wasn't living so devilish shit. But shout out to Drake Wuertz, man. We've talked critically about his situation, and I without having firsthand knowledge, and I really wanted to give him I still do give him the opportunity. No worries. Maybe we'll do a call in something later today or later this week, but Stevie's not here either, and I really want to kind of have Stevie in the house too. So Stevie, being the great family man he is down there in Florida, maybe him and Drake Wuertz are hanging out right now, laughing at me, going, that son of a bitch has to do all this wrestling bullshit by himself. What a fucking rube. And that makes me laugh too inside. So solo hacker show today. You know what? We'll send the link out and see if anybody just picks up the line. You never know. Who might show up? Yeah. Who the hell's showing up next? Let's see. We'll send it to Steve King. We'll send it to who else? I don't see anybody up in greenlit right now. That's the problem. Any veteran workers up in greenlit right now? Not Chris LaPlante. That's stupid moron. Actually, you know what? We'll see if this dumbass shows up on Canada Day. Sorry for the dead air, guys. Just doing biz while we do this shiz. No, not a problem. But happy Canada Day to any of you infidels who deserve a $5 face slap, you maple syrup sucking morons. Hope Justin Trudeau keeps you on house lockdown forever as the Delta variant crawls into your donairs and Molsons and infects you all. Because Chris LaPlante wants some, but he don't want some. But here's the thing, Stooge report that they're both booked for Davey Richards, not Steve Strangler, Steve and Chris LaPlante. Davey Richards and Eddie Edwards are both booked for the 2CW reunion because they were multiple time 2CW tag team champions. But I don't know, Eddie is really kind of settled into the groove of getting the torch pass from Tommy Dreamer. And he's different than the all-American white boy, shortstop looking guy that he was as the American Wolves. Those guys are just kind of like, hometown good-looking prom kings personified, in my opinion. And two of them together worked very well. And I'm not trying to shit on Eddie because I got a huge amount of respect for his work. And I like hardcore Eddie as much as I liked babyface, white bread Eddie. And not that he's not that now. And I thought his wife Alicia did a great job this summer in the Wrestle House stuff as a C character in a lot of scenes. She was really impressive in supporting in a lot of scenes. So they've kind of become their own personalities that way, whether it's his feud with Sami Callihan, another great 2CW champion, the 2CW champion, actually. And I wonder if they were going to book that for the main Sami versus Eddie, but now they're both back. And I got to talk openly because this is the locker room. Dude, Davey Richards is in phenomenal shape. He's working out, working his ass off at the gym every day. You see, if you're friends with him on Facebook personally, him and his son working out in the backyard, trying to instill work ethic in his little boy. Good stuff. And Davey's a driven guy, teaching himself how to play guitar, became an EMT, studying to be a doctor now. That's something that's taught by your family and that's in your DNA, work ethic. You're going to sit there and do what you got to do to raise your level up and become the best you that you can build. And then he does it physically. I wish I had as much work ethic and genetics as he has physically to make things happen, but we play the hand we're dealt. But Eddie has really, kind of like the rest of us, settled in a little bit and packed on some pounds and isn't in that fucking ripped American white bread shape. He's more of like, I don't want to call him a scumbag by any means, but that Philly hardcore bar fighter, Boston bar fighter kind of guy now. And I don't know, as the American Wolves, that was a finely tuned, jacked, sexy tag team, if that's going to work, because now Eddie wrestles with his shirt on and he's got kind of streetwear gear, where Davey's the opposite of that. Now, they'll make it work in the ring, absolutely. I'm not saying that Eddie's lost a step at all, but the visual of the American Wolves, I don't know if I'd step out with that. I'd have them face each other. And I think you can get Davey Richards over as a heel, or maybe you can get them both over as baby faces, but maybe even if Davey's concerned about Eddie and Eddie ain't trying to hear that, that's an interesting, back and forth between guys who trusted each other and could have a great feud against each other, not just quick payoffs, and maybe we get a whole story where it's Eddie dedicating himself to getting back into the shape of the American Wolves for a full year. I think that's interesting too. And I'd like to see him do that. I know it's not easy to stay in shape, especially at the level those guys have to look at as we get older. But I don't know. Will the Wolves reunite at 2CW? I highly believe so. Whatever they're booked for, September 30th or October 1st or both. I'm not sure yet. But you're going to see it. You're going to see them come back together. And I hope that Eddie's working hard this summer to look great. Eddie needs to share some food with his wife, Stiff from the chat room, but funny. Yeah, she's a tiny little thing, man, like real small. She was cool though. 2CW, very easy to get along with. When Massachusetts is in the house though, bro, like in the locker room, that accent cuts through the locker room like nobody's business. It pops me. Good people though, all the way around, man. Tucker, yeah, Tucky, get me goddamn Tucky in here. Tucky recalls nixing quote barbecue guys pitch. Interesting, barbecue guys. Barbecue. Former WWE star Tucker joined the OTR show to discuss his WWE career. Best known for teaming with Otis as part of Heavy Machinery, Tucky was asked how quickly the two former amateur wrestlers clicked as a team. Pretty quick, Tucker revealed. He said he was on the Greco ladder. He was a top 3 senior level Greco guy. Wow, why don't we get to see this shit? He was a bronze medalist at the Pan American Games. We were both heavyweights, and on top of that, we were kind of small town guys. He grew up in Superior, Wisconsin. I grew up in Hubbard, Oregon. There's just a difference between kids who grow up. I mean, there's like growing up in the sticks and the suburbs and the city. I was the edge of the suburbs where I grew up. He was kind of the sticks, and where he grew up was the same kind of the sticks. So what's understood doesn't have to be said. We both grinded hard to put food on the table for ourselves. We're both heavyweights, and we both get it. You put it on the line and look like a bunch of men in the and looked a bunch of men in the eye. So did I. We're not going to try to measure dicks here. We're in this thing together. So yeah, there was definitely like, I don't know if it was instant, like love at first sight, but within a couple of weeks of us talking, it was pretty apparent to me we've got something. I don't know exactly what, but there's definitely something we can make it work. Well, there you go. There's your, I mean, I haven't gotten to the other part yet about barbecue guys, but there's your blue collar warriors, you know. Vince, what are you guys from? Well, we're from small towns. And well, you're the blue collar small town dump truck driver. Yeah. What'd you do? I worked summer crew on the road. Oh, you're heavy machinery. Okay. He says, and I was trying so hard during that time to pitch the barbecue guys too. I had aprons made for us. Otis was going to wear a bikini apron, and I had this straight up heavy machinery apron. And I was like, we can sell this. For whatever reason, we could never get it going. And that was disappointing. I was thinking, this is how I pitched it anyway, APA style. Just like, if we were never on the show, we'll just stand in the back and we'll just barbecue. Just come interact with us. You're not going to tell me you're not going to get good stuff. So yeah, it was culture shock going up. But like I said, I feel we were on a good roll. Dude, that is good. Just dudes out back with the grill and fucking anybody from Naya to Mark Henry to whoever, dude, of what's that? You smell that? What smells so good? And then fucking, oh yeah. And they're out there barbecuing, bro. And it just gets bigger and bigger and bigger. And just the people you could walk out there with and have as celebrities. Like, imagine if it was Cardi B hanging out there with those guys, like most of the show or whoever. There's infinite possibilities for Santino Marella style interactions with celebrities or what have you, or even if somebody's got heat and you got to go find Vince and Vince is standing out there having a burger with them, dude, that barbecue thing is fucking very smart. And I like that, but like I knew Otis from Wisconsin, but from the sticks. And if you don't know what the sticks are and you're, even a small city or a big city, like, dude, there's some places out there, Amish country, where it's hard living. It's straight up back to 1800s, to some shit. Yeah. Frank says bikini apron is over. Dude, on Otis, that would be hilarious. That would be hilarious, dude. And that's a big miss, man. And I don't know. And even Iron Chef stuff, like you could have moved Baron Corbin into that, cook-offs and all that kind of shit, man. There could have been a lot of, or even to have the African-American contingent there and have a black family barbecue. Let our truth in them show you how it's going to be done. You know what I mean? Oh, just in my creative mind alone of things going off of what that is, that gives me a new respect for Tucker, man, and Tucky. And now that Killian Dane is released, can Killian Dane even work in America? I saw that the Iconics can't because of their green card. Can Killian Dane work, or even the other guys from Sanity that got released there? He's been kind of shooting too. But I got a lot of time for Killian Dane. He reminds me a lot of me in size, hairiness, and how he works and physical ability. And he's a little bit more athletic than I am. Well, I say that I'm just older and not going to hurt myself because I'm not signed to WWE. But I like the way he works, and I think there's a lot of indie potential for him. I think with Tucker, if you had the right fed, maybe an SWE or someplace like that could do weekly things with him, he's believable too. I didn't know that about the Greco-Roman. Oh, we got shakes being made upstairs by the wives. I didn't know that about the Greco-Roman and Pan American Championship. I kind of want to be on a show with him and go wrestle him for real before the show in real life to see, I don't know, like let's see how good you are. But it always interests me too, because my dad was an amateur, champion. So I know a little bit and to lock up with someone who just has it, because if you make it to the Pan American Games, it's second nature to you. You've put in the 10,000 hours, and to get to lock up with somebody like that, even if I get stacked in 40 seconds and pinned, it's say, hey dude, I fucking locked horns with this dude. I got beat by the New York State champion in my very first match. My very first match as an amateur. I think I was in 10th grade. And I had to face a senior because we were both super heavyweight class, and the guy had won the state championship, Dave Duvall, fucking 2 times in a row, and he beat me in like 30 seconds. And then my coach was like, "Why did you let him do this, that, or the other? You're as big as him." And then our assistant coach, who was a super heavyweight, wrestled him too, and Dave Duvall beat him in under 2 minutes. So he beat one of my coaches, and he fucking beat me. He was damn good. There was no shame in getting beat by that guy. But that's interesting to me that he was a Greco-Roman. Why wouldn't you break him out of that and give him a little shot and put that shit over? Give him the old Kempatera fucking nut hugger, high cut fucking strap, Greco look gear wise, and let him go out there and lock up and throw a couple people around. We didn't get any of that playing into, his real strengths of what he's possibly capable of. So yeah, hopefully I cross paths with him. I'd like to talk to that guy. Maybe I'll reach out to him and see if he can stand us up for a Friday veteran locker room. No heat on Drake Wuertz. I get it. You got to make your money. He's only had the 1 month. When you leave NXT, you got a month, you can start working. He's working shows as well. So, when we look at the bubble and we see people do things, and I'll talk about him because he's not here, but, we had that comment on him wearing his NXT shirt and doing the school board Skype in that kind of was an inciting incident. And then another one that we read about with backstage during the All Lives Matter. And then even recently this week, talking about a text that Johnny Ace sent out for mass vaccinations and feeling a certain way. So the pressure from the employer of heat, no heat, and if you don't do what we want to without us telling you to because we can't, then it's going to cost you your job because you're difficult to work with. I'm sure he's very, very pleased being freed of those handcuffs. That is a very Stockholm syndrome sickness where Dr. Roma Scavage doesn't know what it truly is like. When I read those things about them putting Vince over, that just makes me laugh. But it's an interesting conversation that Drake's a part of right now with mask, anti-masking, and vax, non-vax, or jab, don't get the jab, whatever it is. As my wife put the other day, jab and the jab knots. That popped the shit out of me. But Sasha Banks and others are part of a mandatory training session at WWE Performance Center. This week's set to be a very busy one at the PC in Orlando. Stevie's down there. You never know. As WWE Chairman and CEO Vince McMahon is reportedly scheduled to visit to scout talent on Thursday, while several main roster wrestlers are mandated to be there for training as the company prepares to return to touring next month. We noted before how Vince is scheduled to be at the Performance Center to scout talent as the company makes a significant effort to replenish the main roster, which has been hit recently with releases and repeated bookings. Now Fightful Select reports there are a lot of main roster wrestlers at the PC this week as well. It was noted that many wrestlers that have been off WWE TV for quite a while made the trip to the PC today, including Sasha Banks. Banks has not been seen since dropping the SmackDown Women's title to Bianca at WrestleMania in April. It's also reported that wrestlers who have asked for time off were not exempt from being at the Performance Center for training this week. Who's asked for time off? That's interesting. We did have like a rumor mill story that whatever the cancel culture bullshit morons that saw Sasha Banks like a anti-vax tweet are now calling for cancellations. Plus, Lawler stooging off that everybody must be vaccinated by June 20th. If you didn't want, because we're going back on the road, it's mandatory. Well, that poses the question: can your work make your health vaccinations mandatory? And this is the strange line that we're walking here of you're either going to say you were, you weren't, and have a fucking no proof or a fake proof, or you're going to get it. And then who knows, as we're need the cardio. But meanwhile, Johnson & Johnson was just forced to put a warning label on their fucking Dovik 91 fucking jabs because 1,300 plus young men have been reported of having heart inflammation, cardio inflammation. So welcome to being a test subject, and fucking those Johnson & Johnson get to sign off so they can't be sued. But you got to take this, otherwise your life and your livelihood's ruined. But if you don't take it, or if you do, you may die from it too. And now there's a Delta, the Delta variant. The Delta variant driver is going to be my new finisher. So, and that's saying, even if you had that other vax, you may need to be quarantined. So it meant nothing. So all lab rat shit. Hate to say a toe so, but I fucking a toe so. And, her liking that was enough for people to be like, cancel that bitch, da-da-da. Has she gotten the vax? Was AJ and Omos on the shelf for 3 to 4 weeks because they're truthers and they think with a fucking open mind of maybe I shouldn't be getting this bullshit, and it affecting my health? Who else? Drake Wuertz himself, very outspoken, ahead of the curve, where everybody else is just staying small and keeping their cards close to the vest. Now the payback has got to swing, because now we need the proof. Were you vaxxed, or do you not love this business? Wouldn't you get vaxxed to keep your spot? Or Sasha being just super unsafe in a lot of ways and very green. What are they going to teach Sasha Banks on this Thursday at the Performance Center to make her not green in the ring and hit kicks that aren't fucking stiff, or learn how to throw a forearm? You know what I mean? But it's definitely interesting to see who else, Stooge Report wise, will be sent back down to fucking learn how to work safer. Is it going to be Mandy and Dana? Is Rhea Ripley going to be there? Are the girls who are knocking each other out with shoot kicks? Are we going to do that? Let's just have let's do training on how to take a super kick and sell into something and get your hand up to take the kick, as opposed to no selling, doing 3 and none of them meaning anything until somebody gets knocked out with a real one. So there's so many fundamentals that I see that aren't even in the game of WWE top talent, of women who've been, on top so many times that people think that they're great workers, but really they're not even close to being fundamentally sound in a lot of ways in the things that they do, or the way they do or don't sell. I mean, with the exception of Charlotte, Asuka, maybe Bailey, but she still does a lot of egregious like indie things that are insane. She's gotten a lot better with it. I'd say all of them could go back down and learn fundamentals, to be honest with you, from what I've seen, myself included. So, but I don't see myself winning the WWE Women's title anytime soon. Burger King, is a big fan of current WWE storyline. Fast food chain Burger King's also a fan of the superstars Orton and Riddle. Riddle's mentioned Burger King and their signature sandwich, the Whopper, in several recent promos on Raw, and including a backstage segment with Damian Priest on this week's show. It seems Riddle likes to keep a stash handy, a stash of Whoppers. Riddle and Priest visited a nearby Burger King restaurant this afternoon, and Riddle tweeted about it, plugging the new Chick King sandwich. He also thanked Priest for lunch. Thanks Archer of Infamy for the Stallion lunch, and Randy Orton, you got to try the Chick King sandwich. It's amazing. Hashtag arcade bro. This is BK responded, wrote, this is the best storyline in wrestling. It's definitely not the best storyline in wrestling. It's the most stupid and insulting one. However, does this spawn out of McDonald's sending Britt Baker all those Big Mac things, and these guys know that they can pop Burger King for free lunch? The other part of it that's funny is there's 4 big Chick King sandwiches, fries, and big fucking supersized drinks in this picture, if you haven't seen this picture here. So there's the bros. All right, I get it on the road, and nobody eats shittier than me sometimes, believe me. But these guys are your fucking abs and 2% body fucking fat guys, and here we are sucking down a big greasy fat sack, bro. Like, hey, you want abs like us? Get the new Chick King sandwich. It's fucking great for your body. Meanwhile, if I look at a fucking Whopper, I put on 1.5 pounds. So that makes me laugh of promoting the worst fucking food you could possibly eat for your own health by guys who are super shredded with fucking 5% body fat and, putting it over. But as workers, it's smart. If believe me, the people at Burger King see what happened with AEW and that, they're going to jump on a bigger wagon to do that. And I think Burger King's already buying airtime on Raw. Maybe I think I've seen the Chiking sandwiches. So they're working with USA. So that's smart crossover. And I think Riddle would be good. Maybe not with Damian Priest, but I could see the Randy Orton buddy thing. Like, come on, bro, let's just go get something to eat. You know what I mean? And they become buds over that. There's plenty of opportunity to have super jacked guys who probably don't eat Burger King, eating Burger King, fooling the fat fucks of America, saying, yes, this is what we do, bro. But we do eat like shit on the road, because usually when you get out of the show, what the fuck is open at 10:30, 11 at night? Burger King, Wendy's, Taco Bell, right? So unless you're a Ryback that comes to the show with a goddamn cooler with 5 meals in it of chicken and fucking tuna packets and brown rice and broccoli, which most of those guys are doing, at the end of the night, maybe you would be, even though this is daytime and they're eating shit. But so be it. Get yourselves over with big corporate enterprise, man, no doubt. You guys, speaking of, RBV's in the house, and we're only 3 days away from the big Nathan's Eating hot dog competition, which will be streamed live here, HMG, probably Hamin Media Group, YouTube as well, doing big things there. RBV, a real tradition here at HMG, as he counts that down, and people really seem to love that. So looking forward to seeing our coverage of that, see who walks away with it this year. Veteran pro wrestler reportedly signs with AEW to work as a producer after leaving WWE. Veteran pro wrestler Sanjay Dutt is reportedly signed with AEW. It's noted that Dutt left WWE after putting in his notice a few weeks back, and he's been working as a producer since 2019. In an update, Dutt is currently backstage for tonight's Dynamite in Jacksonville. It's believed Dutt signed to work full-time as a producer. Dutt first began working as a producer for Impact in 2017. He quietly retired a few years back, but did wrestle a few matches for GFW in 2017 until Achilles injury kept him out of the ring. Dutt left for Impact 2019 and went to work for a WWE producer later that month. This is interesting. He's in a great spot. And this guy, only met him twice, both times very cool, definitely gets it. And that was interesting when I heard that, because that he left, because I was wondering if this was, he didn't want to take the fucking jab and they were trying to push it on him, and he's like, fuck this place, and left. But now that story just popped earlier in the week that he left, and now he's already at AEW. What's interesting to me, and hold on a sec, as doing foreign guy gimmick, which he's had to do all the Bollywood shit and had the big entrances with the girls dancing and the fucking little finger symbols and all that. And let's play India to the hilt. And Mahabali Shira and Rinka King and all that stuff that he did in Impact was good crossover, but the FLR is awesome. Well, thank you. So the thing with him leaving, I thought might have had COVID issue, but and I'm surprised, because if we're trying to break into the India market, I would just, it seems racist, but I would want to put my Indian talent with my Indian producer to let me know how to appeal to a certain group that I don't know as much about culturally. You know what I mean? That's just smart using of your assets.
Group.
I get it. And now that they have Shanky and Veer along with Jinder back, I thought maybe they might do something that way, but that's, I don't want to pigeonhole Sanjay Dutt into just Indian wrestling stuff, but that would how I would see that corporate machine working a little bit. He's got tons more knowledge than that. He can agent whatever you want him to do. But they also just signed the Punjabi Lion Robo. I can't remember what changed his name to, a phenomenal talent from the Indies, and a guy of Indian descent. He may be working to be a doctor too. Super smart, like shredded, jacked guy, a good middleweight, cruiserweight. Definitely keep an eye out for him. But maybe it's AEW that's going to beat them to the Indian market punch. And maybe there's some great ideas that Sanjay Dutt has had that have fallen on deaf ears, that now they have a gateway with some great Indian wrestlers. And Mahabali Shira has been working with Al Snow for 2 years in and out of OVW and Impact, and he's really come a long way. There could be opportunity to beat them to the punch. If they got Jinder Mahal and all you're doing is putting them in a goddamn battle royal to lose, that is a gross misuse of your top tier talent, you know. So it'll be pretty interesting to see. And if not, Sanjay Dutt just as a backstage liaison and agent is plenty value, but everyone's been trying to tap into these China and India markets, huge markets, and nobody's done it right yet. They almost did with WWE, and then Triple H decided he was going to beat Jinder in India, which was the fucking most self-egregious, stupid booking decision possibly in the history of wrestling. People looking for NXT, it's because Ray cut a big promo yesterday and then he wasn't feeling comfortable with it being out there, so we pulled both the videos, but the edited version of the audio is up on patreon.com/Hamin Media Group. Y'all you don't always need to see my face. Jim Ross, actually I want to get to the Rebel injury. Reportedly during that match, Britt Baker defeating Nyla Rose and Vicky Guerrero. The finisher featured Baker making Guerrero tap out to the lockjaw submission, which is weird. At one point during the match, Rebel saved Baker from being pinned by Rose, sliding in to break up the pin, apparently injuring her leg. Rebel immediately let Rose know something was wrong, and Rose helped her move to the ropes. Rebel then crawled to the corner, and the ring doctors checked her out after the match. They had to carry her to the back. Couldn't put any weight on it. Crowd was putting her over. I don't know if on the slide in, this sucks and my knee hurts even thinking about it. If you've ever had your kneecap lift off and then have your ligaments snap it back into place, it's a scary and fucking very, excuse me, painful ordeal. It's almost like getting struck by lightning and you have a mini blackout, but first you get hit with a flash of white light. That's how it happens to me when I get something like that. And dude, you could tell she didn't know what it was, and it's just an instant shutdown button, so I really hope that I don't want to say just that because that sucks, but dislocated kneecaps around 6 weeks as opposed to a PCL, ACL, MCL blowout. Or I thought her leg might have been broke from how dead it looked, like it was kind of just hanging there. That's like a broken leg too. But a dislocated kneecap will do that too, where your bottom of your leg from the knee down is just fucking dead, dangling like a fucking fish out of water, so scary. I'll probably send her a message today from HMG wishing her the best, but I'm glad it's less than what it is. But just on a slide in, her knee probably, I got to go back and watch, or maybe I don't even want to, but probably hit, and it hit the edge of the apron and her knee went and popped right off, popped back on. Devastating, man. Real nasty. Just instant feel like you're going to piss your pants feeling, and I have no control over my body, and how bad is it? So real scary, man. And she's been working hard too on diet, working out, posting pictures of back day, looking super jacked. And, she was a Dallas Cowboy cheerleader. She knows what it takes to stay in shape, be in shape, and all that kind of stuff. And a very talented beautician. A lot of makeup and hair stuff that you saw at Impact and early on in AEW was all her. So I hope she's earning mad paychecks. So at least if she can't wrestle and be on camera, she's got a great career that she can do for all the women backstage. Put her on a fucking stool for a little while and let her do hair, and makeup if need be, as long as she's recovering. But she's done great as the fucking useful idiot in the Britt Baker story since they started together. I'm really glad that they haven't done anything to split them up. I think that lackey position is a good one there. Big E feels that his momentum has slowed down since WrestleMania. Yeah, no shit. After punching his ticket and suiting himself in Money in the Bank, do we need to go? This he says, I'm excited. There's a lot of things I realize I've done because I haven't been with the New Day for so long. I haven't done a lot of single stuff, and I actually never been in Money in the Bank match, so this should be dope. But talking about getting him cooled off, man, but you know, the Aleister Black thing was supposed to be where we were going with that, and then that died on the vine. They had him hot, and then they cooled him off, and then they brought him back again to do whatever with Kevin Owens as kind of a facilitator for the him and Sammy storyline. And we're going back on the road, and New Day makes a ton of money. So, you know, especially with little kids. So, you know, they're going to be putting them back together, but cooled off isn't even the word for it. A Nigerian drum match. Just like very, I don't know, to me, and I'm not the one that has to live life like an African-American, but like, you know, to take Cruz and make him Nigerian, okay, foreign guy gimmick, he is taking off with it, but the drum match and all that, where do you go from there with a Big E? You know what I mean? And they say Big E likes to shuck and jive too much. Hey, if that's where the money is, shuck and jive, bro. I'd rather shuck and jive instead of take a ton of bumps. That's going to, and I'd rather be working with 3 guys because that's only a third of the bumps that you got to take. You cheerlead, you fucking dance. That's a lot easier night going back to the hotel and taking a shower than it is not being able to take your own boots off because your fucking spine is compressed. Not saying those guys don't take a lot of bumps and work hard, but Big E's was not to take heat. Kofi or Woods would take the heat, and Big E comes in like a truck and kills everybody. That's a lot better space than taking fucking Death Valley drivers on the side of the apron. And a smart worker knows that. So he should be able to go back on. Mike Martin says, Buddy Murphy's on Major B12. Yeah, dude. I haven't worked with him. I mean, I've never heard anything bad about him. And I'm not saying being on gas makes you a bad person, but it's insane to me how these guys work for WWE. Some of them are on B12, but then as soon as they leave WWE within 6 weeks, they figure out the secret to fucking massive muscle mass. We couldn't figure it out while we were there, you know, under the umbrella, just a certain rep combination or this workout, you know, but as soon as we left, it just somebody came up and gave us the secret to fucking being jacked. The secret workout routine. So, I mean, it's all a liability, man. That we're in a visual business, and he was already super jacked. You know what I mean? There's no doubt about that. Is him putting on another 10 pounds of muscle mass, having 12 abs, is that really going to get him signed and over in AEW? He's already made these guys playing with their own health for vanity metrics and hopefully get signed is scary to me because you're doing irreparable damages to your liver, to your kidneys and heart with HGH. And the other part of that is everybody sees it and knows what you're doing. And now you've just upped the chance, because where's he going to go? If AEW isn't knocking down his door, or MLW or ROH, I mean, Impact, but they're going to be working indies. It's only going to be a matter of 2 to 3 months. In my opinion, there's an 80% chance that Buddy Murphy's going to have a torn pec, a torn bicep, separated shoulder, maybe a torn quad or something along those lines, because I don't care how long you've been bodybuilding, when you have to do the physicality that we do as a wrestler, your skeleton is not set up and your ligaments are not strong enough to put on that much muscle mass unnaturally that quickly and expect your body not to go, nope, this little rubber band isn't going to hold on 80 pounds of quad anymore. 45 to 60 pounds, okay. 80 pounds, nah. And then pop, off she goes. You know, like that, they don't see the forest through the trees. The vanity, and maybe it's with some guys issues of body dysmorphia or whatever it is, or thinking if I get even more jacked, then I'm undeniable. But then the bell rings and you get hurt week 1 because the human skeleton isn't meant to hold that much muscle mass. Or if it is, it needs to be built up over a year, 2 years amount of time. Not, I got fired and put on 20 pounds of muscle. Oh yeah? How? RBV says, we're all going to die. Might as well look ripped as fuck on the way out. Sure. If you want to be able to live and survive and earn a living, I agree with that. But if you're putting all this muscle mass on for your job and it's only going to really get you injured or get you hurt and put you on the shelf, that's kind of self-sabotage. You'll be the most jacked guy sitting at home for 6 months while your quads reattach from being sewn on, playing fucking Nintendo. Like, is that really what you want? Yeah. Yeah, I mean, there's another one, a guy who's a great guy. And none of these judgments are like on their personality, but Slater's still on the shelf. Got hurt last October. He came into Impact, found the secret to fitness after 10 years with WWE. Super jacked, comes in, throws a huge flying high kick, and tears his own inguinal hernia. Like, if you don't know what a hernia is, it's a rip in your muscle mass. And a inguinal one is right above your fucking cocksnabbits. So your intestines are coming out through your fucking muscles. Like there's a rip in the seam there. And you could see him like, it was like a guy in Vietnam that got shot and his guts are hanging out. Like he's trying to hold his own guts in and thinking he's got to stand up and do the spot, realizes, hey, my intestines are coming through my fucking front of my stomach. Nasty. Ben, what do you always say steroids get you in pro wrestling? Championships and main events, right? Bigger checks, bigger paydays. 100% they do. But they can also get you put on the shelf just like that. Like Heath Slater, he's got kids, wanted to do great things, does awesome entertainment. We didn't care about seeing Heath Slater wrestle. We care about him making us laugh. And here he thought, well, and that's another thing. Guys who just do comedy, like who have the skills of a Tucky or whatever, they want to show them. They want to show that, hey, I can go, instead of just knowing what R-Truth knows, which is, let me do a walk-on and get paid the same way. Maybe I'll have to wrestle and do a spot or two. But they put on all that muscle and then go hard as fuck in the paint, and that's what happens. And now where is he? You know? Wouldn't it have been better for Heath Slater to not do any of that shit, get over with comedy and character, and then been able to earn from October till right now? Instead, I bet it was a long, hard winter, bro, and a hard fucking spring too. Feel bad for him. And a guy we should feel a bit bad for, at the end. And I don't know, maybe it's sabotage, maybe it's not. Our final story of the day. Good old JR responds to calling AE Dynamite WWE Dynamite tonight on TNT. Announcer Jim Ross receiving negative feedback from some fans tonight after another major botch on AEW Dynamite commentary. JR was wrapping up tonight's Dynamite broadcast and plugged next Wednesday's show when he referred to the show as WWE Dynamite while still on the air on TNT. Tickets available at AEWTix.com. Folks, there's nothing in your life like seeing a top live WWE Dynamite. AEW fans immediately responded with criticism on social media. Ross addressed the botch in a tweet and admitted the error. Yes, I apparently made the ultimate error tonight at tonight's show's end. No excuses, and I'm not quitting. Cowboy hat face emoji. Busted Open Dave LaGreca tweeted a mistakes happen post and praised JR as the greatest of all time. JR retweeted those comments and added, thanks, Dave. It's all on me. No excuses. I mean, that's all you can do, really, right? Let me just see. Oof. That's rough, man. That'll be the Botchamania finish of all time right there. I don't know. What are you guys thinking? Hit us up at Hamin Media Group, at Ben_Hamin, at Hacker Hamin on Instagram. It's JR. He's our grandfather in this business. And that's rough, though. Like, is the hammer going to fall? There's been multiple botches, old man botches and whatnot, but that's pretty stiff. And JR has said that he talks to McMahon weekly, like friends, in their own little texts going back and forth. I've put out the postulate there. Are there double agents? JR's a supreme worker. This could just be a fucking happenstance mistake after 40 years in the business than 50 years and 30 of it with WWE, where it's just operant conditioning and he calls it that? Or is JR that much of a slick Willie worker that he's going to fucking throw botches at the end to hurt the show, knowing that he's got a job to come back to at WWE if he really wants it, man? Gully Blanche, you don't think it's that big of a deal? That's fine, man. And it's not. It's phony wrestling bullshit. But if you sink millions of dollars into a show and your lead announcer that's a nostalgia, credibility, like all that kind of stuff, and you're getting him in his end of days in his career and he's botching your show in the go home, putting over WWE, so then the smart marks can, and you only have smart marks who love AEW, and it's kind of a slap in their face. The conversation has to be going down between the Young Bucks, Kenny Omega, Khan, and others who are not WWE guys of like, we got to get this old timer out of here, and not that I want to see JR go or hurt, because I think AEW is paramount in his mental health after losing his wife so tragically, that the wrestling community really showed JR the love we have for him, and so do they there. But there comes a time of doing somebody a favor where then their own ageism has kind of put them out of touch, or they make mistakes on a regular basis. We all have grandparents where they run down the name of everybody in your family before they get to your name. My grandma, Brad, Greg, what's your name? That's really probably what's going on here, but we can't have that. We need to have the sharpest, tightest show to compete, putting our branding over. The last thing that they see on a show is what they're going to remember. And that was it, is going to be this botch, Is it time to replace him with a Timmy Baltimore, with a, there's a Ray Flores, or one of the many legends that they have backstage who's still in their 40s, 50s, and 60s, to put them on commentary so these types of things don't happen. And because that just shows that AEW, and it's not a bad thing, might care more about doing a favor than it is really making sure things like that don't happen again. Because if that wasn't JR and it was Excalibur and he's calling it WWE Dynamite, he wouldn't be there for very long. So it's tough. It's like, how do you heat on your grandparents for being old and just kind of out of touch a little bit? They have the nostalgia feel, but I just feel, and JR is probably like, I don't give a fuck. The real JR, not the on camera, guy who's got to portray that grandfather of us all, as opposed to the worker who's been around this shit and cut plenty of throats, not just for himself, but for Vince, and been a hatchet man and trying to do the best he can with everything he's given. It's a tough call. It's a tough call to make of, do we keep going with this? Because what happens on the next one? Because there's going to be another one. And then you're like, we should have nipped this in the bud before, it's a hard spot I would not want to be in. And again, it really means nothing, but if you're a fucking TNT executive dealing with Tony Khan and the word gets back, then it means something. That's where these little things that are so frivolous and meaningless in life can affect a man's career and job. Not to say that JR doesn't have plenty of money, and that even with him, if he did get axed, JR's barbecue sauce and fucking online love would be through the roof. So he can do his retirement. The guy's put in more than enough time. So Tony bought him a beach condo. I mean, you got to put that over, man. No matter whatever with the I, me, my Forbidden Door stuff, they've done a great job of being ambassadors and fucking taking care of guys in wrestling that would have just been kind of kicked to the curb, and knowing that. But with that, you get these opportunities for the grenade to blow up in your lap. No good deed goes unpunished, right? So shout out to JR, man. No fucking, just a smile and a laugh on that kind of stuff. I love botchamania shit like that. I love wrestle crap. I love when everybody thinks they're so fucking important, and then JR makes a huge gaffe that makes everybody look silly and stupid, and we all have to kind of eat it to be like, this shit doesn't mean nearly what we think it does. And even it's if you can't smile and laugh about it, then what the fuck are we doing? You know? Thank you guys for dealing with an hour and 20 of me running down headlines. Apologies that we didn't get Drake Wuertz to join us today as he got called in, but open invitation. I really want to hear his story and hear what he's got to say. And hopefully everything's going well with Big Stevie Cool down there in the Florida sun as well. Maybe he's hanging with JR and Tony right now. You never know. But definitely, if you guys want to give us a follow at all we got going on, you know where to find us, patreon.com/Hamin Media Group, as well as, like I said, cameos going down. Ben Hamin had a good time shooting promos, getting back into the swing of things. On the 17th, I'll be Toms River, New Jersey Action Sports Center with Titan Championship Wrestling. On the 31st, me and GGP back in Immortal in Rome, New York. August 1st, let's see. So that'll be the 31st, August 1st. Oof. I'm with New Breed Entertainment, Messina, New York. The 26th, RBV's Big Catalina Wine Mixer Show in Vive, Indiana. And then hop in the plane and right back to Albany, New York to work the Scott Wilder promotion. Big time wrestling, I believe, in Watervliet, New York, August 27th. So looking forward to a great run of shows here. Hopefully we can get them. Hope the Dogs of War are doing well. I'll tell you, Gracie had her checkup, and I was worried because of symptoms she has, but really those symptoms are lesser ones because she was in a worse way. So to see those means she's actually getting better, and there's more brightness in her eyes, and she's been taking her medicine, and I've been giving her aloe vera plant juice that was a homeopathic remedy I saw, and it seems she's getting better. She's putting on weight, and we're able to sleep a little bit better at night, knowing she's going to be with us for a little longer. So appreciate all the Dogs of War love and you guys worrying about them. It's been, and we're not out of the woods yet. It's been a rough 3-4 weeks, but definitely on the uptick that way. So really, really, really happy. So thanks for mentioning that about Dogs of War health. They're having a good time, man. So hopefully she'll be back out on walk soon, but she's crapping and eating more than she ever has. So it's putting weight back on. So, but y'all, man, everything, you know where to find us. You guys are the hardcores, whether it's Russo brand. Mandir just sent me a new animated Master Shoot Theater clip, had me laughing my ass off. So if you're not a Patreon subscriber at Russo TWC, you definitely should be, so you can see all the fun we're having. Yeah, with Master Shoot. Wanted to
ding dong. Hello.
Yeah, we're kicking ass, man. And hopefully you guys do too. It's the Friday Locker Room. We'll be back for SmackDown Live Self-Help Group. What's this weekend? Great American Bash and Money in the Bank. I don't know. Just keep an eye out here at Ben Hamin channel, twitch.tv/Hamin Media. Give us a follow. I think the A Show also just got approved for affiliate status. Make sure you're following them if you can, using that free Amazon monthly subscription. If you're an Amazon Prime member, we appreciate that. SRTV with a new drop from I believe it's Ole Anderson's nephew, and I'm on a couple shows with him this summer. I know he's on that 27th show. So SRTV just hitting on all cylinders. I got to call Rip Rogers, Edit the Beautiful People today. They sent me their stuff, so plenty to do on another big HMG day after I talked to the Sopranos super fan producer here in another half hour. But y'all, it's Hacker Hamin Infidels Hamin Media Group.
Group.
Y'all.